Hi guys, welcome to this full-fledged course on data science. In this tutorial, I'm going to be teaching you how to solve a real-world data science problem with Pandas and Matplotlab. So in this tutorial, we're going to be merging 12 months of sales data into a single file. Then we'll start analyzing. So let's dive into action. First of all, the step that we need to follow in this tutorial, you can see here, we have to install the Python. Make sure Python is installed on your computer. Make sure you have Pandas installed and Jupyter, lib and Matplotlab. So we have these four requirements that needs to be installed in our computer. So first of all, we have to install Pandas. If you're new to Python, no problem, you can follow along with this course. You can see this is a complete tutorial on data analysis for beginners to advanced level, right? So I'm going to be guiding you straight ahead from the basics to the advanced level. So first thing we have to do is just to go to our what's it called, the browser, Google, and type Python download. So you can see already I have Python download here. Click on the link below. Okay, so right here you can see we have Python, latest Python version, Python 3.1.2. So you can download it. Once you download it, you can install it. So already I have Python installed in my computer. So when you download Python, how to confirm that Python is on your computer? Or yes, so you just type command cmd, just put cmd, which is the command prompt. So you press enter. So on your command prompt, you just type Python dash version and you press enter. Alright, so you can see I have Python 10.4, Python 3.10.4. So this is how to confirm that Python is properly installed in your computer. So with this, you are rest assured that Python is already on your computer. So the next step, I've shown you just how to go about installing the Python. So it's just very simple. So once you install, you just type Python version and it will now give you the version of Python you're using. Okay, so next step we're going to be doing now, let's head over to guide. So we're going to install Pandas. All right, so Pandas is a library, it's an open source libraries on Python. Okay, there are libraries, open source libraries on Python. So we use Pandas for data analysis and all of that. Okay, so we can just come to do now is to install Pandas. So we just say pip install Pandas, right? So it will tell me requirement already satisfied because I have this already installed on my computer. So if you're using Mac, you can use pip3 install Pandas. You can see I already have a requirement already satisfied. All right, so that means I have Pandas already installed in my computer. Okay, that's good. So next step we're going to take, you can see that we've installed Python, we've installed Pandas. So the next is what we call Jupyter notebook. So Jupyter notebook is a code editor for using in analyzing data and all of that. So when I mean code editor, we have many type of code editor. We have the Anaconda, Visual Studio, many of them. So I prefer Jupyter notebook because it's majorly used for a complete data analysis and makes your work very clean and it's just industry standard. Okay, so that's why I prefer Jupyter notebooks. So now we need to install Jupyter notebook. So what we have to do is just say pip install Jupyter. Make sure your spellings are correct, right? Jupyter okay, Jupyter. So it will tell me requirement already satisfied because you can see I have this already installed in my terminal, okay, my computer. So now we've installed Jupyter notebook. So next we're going to be installing now is called Matplotlab. Okay, so this one is used for graph to show a pictorial graph of your analysis, just like we have chart in Excel. If you're conversant with Microsoft Excel, we have charts that we use for graphical demonstrations of sales or prices of anything. Okay, so we're in this case we're going to be using the Matplotlab, right? So let's head over to it and say pip install matplotlib, okay, and we hit enter. Okay, you can see also I have requirement already satisfied. That means I have all those things ready on my system already. So since I have them on my system, that means I'm good to go. Since I have all of this installed properly in my computer. So now next thing I'm going to do. So once you type that and it's not showing you requirement already satisfied, know that you've not installed any of those libraries. So but in another tutorial, I'm going to be specifying each of them. Like I have a tutorial on pandas, how to install pandas, how to work with pandas. I have a tutorial on Jupyter, what Jupyter is all about, the interface and how to work with them. And I have a tutorial on Matplotlab. Okay, so but we're not going to go into that for now because we just want to go straight to what brought us here. So next we're going to do, since I have all of this installed, and I believe by now you also have them properly installed in your computer. Next thing we're going to do now is starting up the Jupyter notebook interface. So before we start the Jupyter notebook, I have a data on my system already, the sales analysis. So the link to the description below will be on the video. You can click on it and go to the my GitHub page to download the data, extract it and put it wherever you want it to be. So in this case I already have the sales data on my computer already. So what I'm going to do now, I've just typed make a directory on my computer. So you can see I type DRR, which is directory on my computer, and you can see it. I just type directory. Okay, so this is our directory. So to specify where I actually want to go to, so I can just type cd desktop. So I want to go to the desktop, so I say cd desktop. So wherever where you extract your file from the GitHub page you download them from, wherever where you extract them to, that's where you cd into. Okay, so mine is on the desktop, so I have to cd my desktop. Okay, so you can see I've cd my desktop, so already here I'm on my desktop, so I can just make that directory again. See directory, just make a directory on my desktop. So I'm going to see all the lists of folders on my desktop. So this is the directory of my desktop. So I'm looking for a where I save the work. So I think it should be in a folder called let me see. Okay, so let's move. Okay, data analysis. So I've seen the data. It's in data analysis. That's where I extracted my folder is the one I got from the GitHub. So it's in desktop. So so you see the way you extracted your file to, and you now still cd into that data. Make sure you type the directory very well. Analysis. That's where my folder is. My files. Okay, so you see into the file. Make sure it's correct. The name of the folder is correct. So let me be sure. Okay, data analysis. That's good. So once I cd into it now, I can just hit enter. All right, so you can see now I've cd into that particular folder. So what I have to do now, I have to now on my Jupyter notebook. So I say Jupyter. Remember we installed Jupyter previously. It's Jupyter notebook, and you hit enter. So before you open your Jupyter notebook, make sure you're in the directory of your file you downloaded from the data analysis file you got from the GitHub. So make sure you're in that directory before you open your Jupyter notebook, so it will be easier for you to have access to the books, the data, the files. Okay, so it's still loading, so let's wait while it loads. Automatically it open the browser for us. You can see it will just automatically open the browser. But in case where your own do not automatically open the browser, you can see you can copy it. You can see to access the notebook, open this file in the browser. Okay, so in case yours didn't pop up as mine did, you can see my own automatically open. So in case your own didn't pop up as mine did, you can just copy this and paste. Look at the URL, copy or paste on the URL. Okay, so you can just copy this and paste on your URL in case yours didn't pop up. Okay, so just copy it and paste on the URL, it's still the same thing. It's the same result you have as mine that just came up automatically. All right, so I think that's okay with that. So next thing we're going to do now, this is Jupyter. I told you Jupyter is a code editor used for code analysis and all of that. So once we are on the interface, what we need to do next is just to click on the new and click on Python 3. So on this interface, what we need to do now is, learning how to work with this interface. Okay, so we have to click the untitled and call it a complete data. We can call it complete sales data analysis. Right, so you just title it that way. You hit rename. So now you've done that. Okay, so this button is for you to add and the rest, to go down and all of that. So the major thing, I'm not going to be talking much about the interface or the files icon and all of that. I have video already on that. So the next thing I'm going to do is just to show you how to put your heading. We need a heading, so we just put here, data analysis, or we can say sales data analysis. So what I mean is that if whatever thing you're analyzing can be the heading of your topic. Okay, so that's what I just did. This first one is just the file name, how the file will be saved. Okay, so because if you come back here, you can see we have it already saved here. So this one is the heading, that's why. So whatever thing you are doing, you can name it exactly. Like for example, you're compiling results for school, you can say compiling of results for school. That may be your heading. All right, so let me hit run. So here I need you can see this one I use the headline. All right, so this one I'm going to be using the markdown. I clicked on the code here, I go to markdown. So this markdown now is used for kind of a comment. So I can put, the more you put one, for example, I can just say merging 12 modes of sales data into a single CSV file. All right, to a single CSV file. So the more you put the hash, the more it's, the one is the first header, that's header 1, 2 is header 2, 3 like this, 4 like this. So depending on what header you want to use. So here now I need to just like kind of 3 headers, since it's a sub under the heading. Okay, so I will click on run. So okay, so before we can do this particular concept, so I can create more cells under it. So I'll go click below. I need more cells below. So here will be importing the necessary tools. Here can be remember we'll have to click on markdown, and we'll click on the hash. So 3 can be okay. So importing, you can put importing necessary tools or libraries. Okay, so you can do this like this, importing tools or libraries. Okay, so let's start importing what we actually have we installed. So we can say import pandas as PD. So PD means pandas. It's a conventional name for panda. Instead of writing it completely, so we just give it a conventional name as PD. Right, so we can import Matplotlib. Okay, Matplotlib dot pyplot as BLT. Okay, so we can import NumPy as NY. So you can import whatever thing you just have to import depending on what you're actually doing. So for me, this is okay. You can import more later. Okay, so I know we didn't install the NumPy, but on your own you can do that later. It's not as much important for this purpose of the video, right? So you can hit run. So once you did, there's no error, that means what you imported are correct. Right, okay, that's good. So let's bring more sales. So since we've imported this, now we have to start the task 1, which is merging 12 cells of data into a single file. So that will be the task 1. So task 1 here will be, so can we edit this? So here will be the task 1, which is what, merging 12 modes of sales data into a single file. So what we have to do, use the df. Df means it's just if you're new to Python, df means data frame. If you're new to Pandas, okay, and Python, df means data frame. It's a variable, so we just create a variable. Variables are a container that holds value. For example, s to the raised to the power of s raised, where s is equals to 5. That means s is a container that holds the value of 5. Okay, so df just is a data frame, it's a variable, it can be anything. Okay, it's equals to pd, which is this pandas we imported, dot pd dot read underscore csv, right? So we're now trying to read through the folder that we have on the computer. Okay, mine is on desktop. I have mine on the desktop, and on that you can see this is my desktop, this is my data analysis, and I still under the data analysis I have where I call sales, that I put the 12 months of sale data. All right, so since I have this data analysis, I have the sales, which I put the 12 months of sale data. So what I have to do, since it's in one directory, which is the sales, before the sales data, I put dot and slash. So I'm going to indicate where it is written. Please make sure your spelling of the files or folder are correct. So I'm going to put what's the name of the file now? So I've put the name of this, which is the sales already. Then I have sales April 2019. So I'm going to say sales underscore April underscore 2019, all right, dot csv. So please make sure that I use PD, that's pandas now, okay, which I told you, read CSV. So if you're using Excel, make sure you're using here will not be CSV file, here will be an Excel file, okay? But since I'm using CSV, that's why I leave it to be a CSV file. So if you're using Excel, make sure you put the extension of what you're using to this place, all right, to read it. Okay, so now next what we're going to be doing, so next thing we're going to be doing now is to run this to see if we are trying to read through the file we are trying to fetch from. So I'm going to put dot head, so not to show everything but just few. So I'm going to click on run. All right, so you can see that we are reading directly from one of the sales file, which is in our desktop, and another file called sales. Okay, so I'm reading this April, which is this April 2019. You can see I'm reading this file already. So this is how you can actually read this file. All right, so this is how you can actually read this file then to analyze. So the next thing, y equal to we use the for loop. So we just say file for file, right? So in os.list directory. Okay, so we now have the list directory is a function. So it is string. I will say, remember what we did earlier, that this dot slash is to access the first, which is data analysis. So we have the slash again, and we have the to access the file. We're trying to access the file. So the next thing we're going to do is, since we say files is equals to file in os.list directory, then we now come and say all underscore modes data is equals to pd dot data frame. Make sure you spell like this, data frame, right? So next we're going to do, we now say we make a for loop for file in files, which is this file here. So this file we're using looping through, say for that file in this file. So we now say df equal to pd, which is pandas dot we now have to read through the CSV. So dot read underscore CSV, right? So we have to read through them and make sure you're having indentation. So indentation means a block of code inside that. That means this code is a sub block under this one. So we have to say pd.read. So we'll put the dot slash sales, which we have our parentheses inside, dot slash sales, right? So we have the slash plus the file, okay, which is the file, this file here, for file in files, okay. So we have the for file. Then we now say all months underscore data is okay, is equals to pd dot concat. I have to concatenate it, concat, okay. Then we now have all months, okay, all months underscore data, and what's the data frame, right? So can come out outside the block and say all months underscore data dot to CSV, so underscore CSV. So I will explain in detail what I've done so far so that we can understand what doing underscore all data dot CSV. Then we have index equals to false. Okay, so now let me explain what I've done so far. First of all, I import OS and I say file. I now use file as a variable to look through files in the list directory, which is here. I've already told you we have a list directory here inside these sales, okay. So I look through these sales, right? So I say for files as a variable. So I use this file to look through this. This is a variable holding all of them. I look through all of them in these cells, okay. So now I say all months data is equals to pd.data frame, okay. So I created a empty data frame here. So I say for file in files, that means for this file that is looking through this sales file in files, which is this variable that's holding them. So I say pd, this data frame equals to pd.read all these files plus file. So I now say all months data is equals to concatenate all the months data and df, okay. So I now run it. So let's run and see what we have. Oops, we have an error. So let's try to fix what this error is all about. Okay, no such file directory. Oh, okay, I think this is the error. You can see I'm supposed to put dot. I went and put a comma. Okay, so I'll have to go back and correct the error. So don't always be afraid of handling errors, right? It makes you a better developer. Okay, so I'm gonna put the dots here and let's run it again. Oh, we still have an error again. So let's see what the error is this time around. Let's see, no such file directory, sales. Okay, so let's try to figure out where we actually have this error, okay. All right, so here it's not supposed to be there, okay, here like this. I think this solved the problem. All right, so let's hit run again and here we go. Okay, so let's check our file if we actually have all the file in one. Okay, that's good. So you can see that we have the all data.csv file. So let's open it in Microsoft Excel and check out what we have there, okay. So Okay, good. So you can see we have, all the files in one file, all the 12 month sales data in one place. Okay, to check, you can see that here already. From here you can see that we have the fourth month. Okay, so you can see we have the first month, blah 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 blah. So let's scroll and see if we can get in. Okay, so here you can see we have the fourth month, which is April. You can see because it's the first on the list, which is here. You can see when you go inside here, you see we have April 1st. That's why you're seeing fourth. Okay, so that's why you're seeing that fourth. So let's continue. So if you can check, you scroll down, you see other months. So let's scroll down. Okay, you can see December is here already. That means we've gotten all the file in one single CSV file. That means we'll achieve the first stage of the. Okay, so getting the updated CSV file. So let's hit run. So now all we have to do, we have to read through all of them to see if we can get all of them handy. So we say all data is equals to pd.read. Remember, we've done this over and over. But read underscore CSV. So we have the all data, which is all underscore data dot CSV. Right, so we can now run the all underscore data dot head. Right, so let's run this and see what we got. Oops, okay, we have an error. This error is here, so we have to put a string inside here. Okay, again. All right, so you can see we have the 12 month sales data in a single file, right? So I can just hit 100 inside here. So I want 100 file and we run it again. Okay, you can see we have up to 100 of them here already. So I'm going to be showing, I will show you on how to see through all of them if you want to see through without this one being cut off. Okay, so but that's not what we actually want to do in this tutorial. So now next thing we're going to be working through now is to clean up data. Okay, so clean up the data because there are some data that we may need to clean up. So before we can talk about cleaning up data, let's now try to add months column. So let's say, for example, we want to add a months column. So let's say task 2. Okay, make sure we use our markdown 3. So task 2. So make sure we use our markdown. Okay, task 2. So what are we going to be doing in task 2? We add months column. All right, so we want to add a months column. So let's run. So in this, so we're going to be doing all data equals to, okay, let's say all data, then we now give it a months. So say months, is it months or months? Okay, is equals to all data is called data. All right, so we now pass the order dates. Right, so we now pass the order date. So to do this, okay, we'll pass the order date. Then so what we're trying to do now, we're trying to create a month. Okay, so the month to separate the, what we actually want to do, we want to separate the month from the time. Okay, so we're going to have the month, the time, and the hours which each of those orders are made. All right, so we want to have the month separated from this one that is joined together with the time. Okay, all right, so what we have to do now, you just say all data equals to, so the all data, remember, is a variable we use here to actually pull out the CVS file. So that's where we got the all data for, is a variable. So just as we use, if you check up, we use the df. So for we not to always rerun what we have done up, that's why I choose to use the all data. So we're going to be working with the all data as a variable now. So we say all data equals to, date, order date, which is this order date up here, which is this order date. Okay, So we now say other dates, then we now put to string, put it to string, want to string it out. So now extract a 0 2. So I'm going to explain what this is, okay? So what I mean is we want to get, because if I just do all data month equals to all data other date, so what it will happen is to just see fetch me the same information on the place. So I don't want the same, I just want to extract or filter this one, okay, this particular one, right, from the rest. So that's 02 index, it should be this, okay? That's what I just want from the file. That's why I'm just trying to filter it out. So we can also do the all data, okay, months, just put the same thing, all data months equals to all data all data ordered dates. So now we're going to be using this format as type, then we now use the integer value 32, right? So remember to put this main one. Okay, so now we're just trying to stream it to convert this to a valuable time, okay? So as an integer, that's what I'm trying to do. So we're going to hit on run and hit on run. Okay, good. Now all data, okay, oh, we have an error somewhere. Good, here. All right, so let's run it again. Okay, so on match of this, so there's an error somewhere which we need to filter. Okay, here we go. All right, so we'll now run this again. Okay, so what's the error so far? Invalid. Okay, integer to base 10. All right, that means it's telling us we cannot convert this cannot literally for integer with base 10. All right, so I think reason for this is because we have some field on this file that is a non-valuable, there is a non-valuable information. So to handle this error, what we have to do now is to clean up the data. Okay, so now let's have is a column under here called, let's go to markdown. So we'll just put our hash here and hash 4, just say clean. Okay, we can make it 3, just say clean data or clean up data. So you can use the word clean up data. All right, so you can hit run. Then beneath it we can have a cell for, okay, so here we can still use same thing to say, we can use for here now, say drop row of none. None means non-valuable, not a number. Okay, that's the word none. That means not a number. So now means not a number. Okay, so then let's hit run. Make sure it's on markdown, so hit run. All right, so next we're going to do now, create another cell for it. You can add more cells for this. All right, so what we have to do is just say, let's create a variable called now underscore df would be equals to this, another variable now, so it will be equals to all underscore data, right? So we all data of all data dot is now. So dot now is a method, okay? Dot now is a method, so we say dot any. So that means the any is another function that specify which of the anything that has to do with nouns to drop, okay? So we have to just now say noun underscore df dot head. So let's run this and see what we have. Okay, you can see that here we have the noun values, okay? So this is what is making us not to be able to, convert that information, that months to, date order to months, because we have the noun value that is restricting all of this information, so you cannot convert them to, because they are not a number, okay? So that's why we're having that error. So we need to now treat this error before we can now run this particular code. So next we're going to do now, since we're able to see this information, we just come down here and say all okay data should be equal to all data dot drop now how equal to all. So which data do you want to drop, and in which row do you want to drop them, okay? That's so but we want to drop all of them to set in case of other place we want to do some calculation that this now will hinder, so we have to drop all. That's why I'm putting all in that place, okay? So I have to come down now and say all data dot head, and let's remove the first one we have here. So that would now handle this information for us. So let's run it again. Okay, you can see it's working now, right? You can see we have the month, the month 0, that's April, like that. So if we put, maybe for example we'll put 20 here, so let's see to 20, you can see it will give us more of other months. Okay, so let's scroll down and all of that. Okay, let's make it 50, for example. Let's say we run 50 here and run it again. Okay, so we can count down to 50 and all of that. Okay, so right now you can see that we actually have this month running. So you can see that we have it working now. We have added, we have achieved the month by adding the months column. So next we're going to do now is task 3 is to add the sales column, okay? Since we've gotten the month column, and this month column is gotten from this order date. You can see from here we just got the order date. We're just trying to separate the order date, the date from the time, because we're going to have a time column too, so that it will be unique. Your data shows the exact month this thing was bought, exact time, and all of that. So all what we are doing, we are featuring from all the information we have to analyze. That's what makes you a data analyst. All right, so next we're going to do now, let's come down and and run all data dot head and hit run. Okay, so next we have to do now beneath it is just to, which is task 3. So we'll go to our markdown and click on task 3. So I'm going to put the hash 3 is okay. So let's say task 3. So task 3 will be add sales column. Right, so that will be the task 3 for us to add the sales column. So from what we just did previously, you should be able to do this task 3. Okay, so just try, go and do it. Let's see what you got, just using the format we use for this add column. But in this case now, while trying to do it, you're trying to add the quantity order times the price each of each. That's what will give us the sales column. So you times the quantity order, times the price each. So you can just pause the video and try it yourself. Okay, so welcome back. Let's continue. So what we're going to do now is just say all data. Then we'll now have the sales. Then we'll say it's equal to all data of what we have there. Okay, so we are trying to get the sales column. So we say it's equals to all data of quantity each. Quantity, make sure you spell it correctly, or you can copy it from this place. Okay, so I think quantity ordered, right? Make sure it's properly spelled. If not, it will give you an error. Times all data price each, right? Price each. Okay, so when we times this two now, what we have to do, we just have to print it out. So we now say all data dot head. So let's see what we have and run it. String, we have 4 data types: the string, the boolean, the float, and the integer. Okay, they are the 4 data types. That means we cannot times a string. You can't times a just for example, you say a test of body times 5. It will not work. It must be an integer to integer. That's what the string means. Okay, so I'm just trying to explain it. String, we have 4 data types: the string, the boolean, the float, and the integer. Okay, they are the 4 data types. That means we cannot times a string. You can't times a just for example, you say a test of body times 5. It will not work. It must be an integer to integer. That's what the string means. Okay, so I'm just trying to explain it based on some persons that doesn't have knowledge about data type. Okay, so to solve this issue, what we have to do, just say, you can just put a so let's go to our markdown and just say solving the error of multiplying. This is data to quantity and price it to the correct data type. So let's still run this. So now what we have to do, we just say all data of quantity ordered, which is quantity ordered, is equals to pd dot to underscore numeric. So numeric means in number format. Okay, so we want to convert this because some of those quantity order, some of them, if you read through, if you look through all those things, I see some of them will be a string or a noun. So, and even the price each, some of them the same thing. So we are trying to convert them to an integer so that we can multiply them easily. That's what we're trying to do. So we say pd2 underscore numeric. So this is a method. So we say all data, then we'll now come here and still put quantity ordered. Make sure it's properly spelled. Quantity order. Okay, then let's make sure we put our error handlings. Errors equals to coils. So this for error handling. Okay, in case of there's any error, it will now correct it. So let's copy this and retype it for the next one, which is the price each. So we'll do that for the price each. Okay, so we have to run this now and see what we have. So we can run it. So we can run it and see. Okay, that means it's working fine for us not to see any error. So let's rerun this one that we've done so far. So remember here we try to convert time to times the quantity ordered, which is here, times the price of each product. Okay, so now let's rerun this column. So I put my cursor on that column and I hit run. Okay, it's still running. Okay, we have some error. Wait. Let's try to check where this error is coming from. I have error somewhere. Quantity order. Oh, that should be a typo error. It's quantity ordered, not quantity order. Where is that format from? Quantity ordered. Okay, ordered. Yes. So let's run it again. Okay, you can see it's working very well now. Okay, so we have the months and we have the sales now. Okay, so you see that here we're trying to convert it now. You can see here it's automatically converted to a numeric figure now, which is a float 2.0 1.0. Before it was 1 2 3 and all of that. So, and if you check that, I didn't even look through this quantity order, you will see that some of them are just a stream, not just even a number. So now we've able to convert this to a float 2.0 1.0 and all of that. So when you times 2.0 times 11.95, it will give us, you know, the answer. So we can even do that here, right here. You can just say 2.0 times, what do we have? 11.95. So hit run and let's see what we have. You can see we have 23.9. okay, 23.9. so that means what we have here is correct. All right, so you can see that what we have here is correct. So let's move on. So I'll just click on, okay, so we can see that we've achieved the, you know, the, what's it called, the sales column. So we've achieved the sales column so far. So now what we'll be asking, the question we're going to be asking now is, from what we've done so far, what was the best month for sales and how much was that month? Okay, so that will be the next question, since we're able to get the month and the sales now. So now let's try to see what month sells the best, okay, from what we've done so far. So we're going to be using the, you know, graph to run this. So let's just come up with a question. Say question. So let's use our markdown and run the question. So question. So say what months, what was the best month, what was the best month for sales, best month for sales. So, and how much was that month? Okay, so let's run this now. Okay, so let's try to answer this question now. So by answering this question, we need to now use the, what we call the graph. So we can just start by answering this question. So let's use the graph by method to get the answers. You can still use the markdown and see. Okay, let's use the So what we are trying to do now, we just say result. We're trying to create another variable to hold this normal variable, not to override what we've been doing so far. So I say result is equals to, result will be equals to dot grouped by group by this is a method. Group by is a method. Then we now have the month, group by the month dot sum. So we are trying to sum the months, okay, to see what we have. So when we run our results dot head, you can see that when we have results dot head now, results dot head, then you can see what we have. Okay, so we see with that we've summed them. This group by, we're trying to group all the months that we have, then we'll now sum them together. That was what I did here. So the group by is a method used in summing a particular column. All right, so I just sum only just for the months. I summed the month, so that you can see here we're having the total sales of the month. So first month here we're having 18,200 and something, whatever. So you can see them here already. So that's how to use the group and sum method. Okay, so the sum is to add or to have the divide, division, and all of that. So you can see the documentation for how to divide, multiply, and all of that. Okay, so next we're going to do, since we've gotten the total we have from the month when we sum it, so let's try to use the graph now to show a pictorial illustration of the month that have the highest sales. So let's just have a markdown so we can have a description, so our work will be very clean. So we can use for, let's see, chart display, chart to display. Okay, chart to display, we'll give it a name just for charts to display the best months that says best. To display the months that says best. Okay, so you can name it anything you want to name. Okay, this is just for for readability purpose, so that anybody that is going through your data analysis can know exactly what you've done for a particular section. That's what I'm trying to do here. So chart to display the month that sells best. Okay, so what we have to do now, we have to import the Matplotlab .pyplot as plt, right? So Matplotlab, okay, Matplotlab.pyplot as plt. Okay, so next we're going to do now, we'll just say we can give it a, what was it called, we can give it a variable called months. The month will be equals to the a range, can range it from 1 to 13. Okay, so if you're a Python developer, I think you understand this better, but if you're not, you can still follow along. So plt now is a conventional name for pyplot, so that's why I'm using plt. So it's a conventional name for pyplot. So plt dot bar, we can use bar. So here we have the months, and here we have the result. This result is a variable that I created that we use in multiplying this thing. So you can see it here, which is up here. So I just use it to sum the months. Okay, so results, which is that variable that is holding that the format, the sum total. So here will be the sales. Yes, so make sure you put your string inside. There will be the sales. Okay, so next we have the plt dot stix like this. So the stix now would take the month, which is this month we have as a variable here, which is here, this month here. So take the month, then we have the plt dot the y label. Oh, sorry, this should be before I forgot, this should be they are all method, okay, so not so make sure it's on the normal bracket. So on the y label we have sales, sales for sales in naira. You can use whatever you want to use, and your currency sales in naira. So I can put this like this and with my sales in naira. So I have the plt dot s label. In here I now have the month number. So here will be a month number. Then we have the plt dot show. Right, so we can now run this to see now. So what I've done so far, I import the Matplotlab as a PLT. Matplotlab, I've explained it earlier in this video, is used for graphical demonstration, a pictorial demonstration of a graph, the total price and all of that. So let's run this so that I would explain it more better. Oops, we're having error here, so let's try to see what the error is all about. Let's try to figure out what the error is all about. Okay, let's go down. Shape mismatch. Object could not be broadcast to a single shape. Mismatch is between the argument of 0 with shape 113. Okay, so let's see what is causing the error. Let's try to get it right. So we have months going to 1 to 13. We have the pie plot per month. Okay, results of sales. Then we have plt.s6 months sales in, then plt. So to correct this error, what we have to do now, we have to convert the what's it called, we have to convert the column to make sure it's 12. Okay, so we have to do the result equals to result.ilog12. so we are specifying just for only 12 columns, okay, because remember in our data frame we have the 1 to 12 months, we don't have 13 included, so that's why we're trying to have that error, because the data frame is showing 12. So when I put this thing here, it's kind of throwing an error. So let's run this again and see what we have. Right, so let's check. Okay, good. So you can see that it's working perfectly now. Okay, so we have the y label, which is sales in naira. So you can put your country. If you're using dollar, you can use dollar. So we have the down part, which is the 12 months month number, which is from 1 to 12. Remember, we are working with 12 months data analysis, converting to a single one. So you can see from the 1st to 12 months. So in analyzing this data so far, you remember the question we asked previously that will result to this answer. So we say, what was the best month for sales? How much was earned that month? So the best month for sales was the 12th month, which is what? December. Okay, you can see that's December, we have the best month of sales, and October we have, I think, the second best month of sales. Then April we have another one too. So this is how to analyze data, using the Matplotlab and all of that. So you can see from this very pictorial graph, you can see that we are able to analyze this data we have by creating a column, extra column from it, and after the column we were able to know the month whose sales highest among the months that we have previously. So we'll continue in the part 2 of this video. based on